Can you imagine cricket in Mongolia?
Can you? I can't imagine, honestly.
Maybe umpires on horseback?
Yeah, oof. Apparently, Sunil Gavaskar saw this performance and said, in the Asia Cup, and said, this is the future of Indian batting. These two.
Yeah, I think you're referring to Rohit and Virat.
Yeah.
And actually, Sunny is the time not to miss out on talent. I think the next big country in terms of growing as a cricket nation would be Nepal.
It's in the air. It's a six.
Welcome to a century of stories cricket brought to you by IDFC FIRST Bank, now recognized by Forbes among the world's best banks of 2025. And I've got today with me an old friend of mine, not old, but definitely friend.
Very old.
Old is the wrong technique here, completely. This is bad batting on a difficult wicket. Friend, senior friend, ठीक है? The veteran, legend, these are all horrible words.
ये खराब word.
I like senior.
Old friend.
See, Amrit is a fairly common name, and at least in the north, I remember whenever you had guys with the same name, senior, junior, to ho jayega. Like that would be the way to show the difference.
Fit hai ekdam.
So Amrit senior, Cyrus junior. I just wanted to bring that in. Okay. Let's leave the jokes aside for a second. We're talking serious cricket here. We're talking about something which is we're at the pinnacle of the next one. Early September, we're going to see the Asia Cup in the Gulf. But before we get into that. Amrit, you're the historian. You've written books. You've studied the game. You played university cricket. He's played for Central Zone. He's played with some big names. So he's actually been a cricketer as well. Then one of the best administrators in the country, managers, the works. But you're the guy who knows behind the scenes what's going on. And when we talk about the Asia Cup, I think it's a lot about what's going on behind the scenes. What is the point of the Asia Cup? Is it relevant? All these things. And before we go right to the beginning of the Asia Cup, I want to ask you one very important question. How important is that India should play Asia Cups?
Listen, there's a lot of chatter, a lot of conversation about whether we should play, considering all that is going on. But I think from a cricket standpoint, the Asia Cup is important. And important that India participates in it. We are also like a father figure in the Asian Cricket Council, which has about 30 members, and including China, Japan,
Mongolia,
Uzbekistan, Philippines. These are three new.
I'm voting for those guys to play Test cricket soon.
Can you imagine cricket in Mongolia?
Can you? I can't imagine, honestly.
Maybe umpires on horseback?
Yeah. Oof.
But anyway, the thing is, the Asia Cup Asian Cricket Council consists of 30 members, and for them it's very important to have this event because the Asia Cup raises money. This Asia Cup is likely to raise about 30-40 million in terms of television rights, sponsorship, etc. So all these 30 members depend on this revenue to support the cricket. India doesn't need this money. For India, even if they get a major share of maybe 10-15 million from this, that doesn't change India's...
we don't need the Asia Cup. The Asia Cup needs us.
Listen, we need the Asia Cup to support the other members of the Asian Cricket Council because you are the father figure. The entire organization depends on you, and it's your responsibility to further and support sport in this region. Now, if the event raises 30-40 million, even if India gets 10 million, for India it's very small money. It's less money than what Rajasthan Royals or any other IPL team spends each year on their players.
Right.
But for the rest of the countries, they are heavily dependent on this revenue. They are like a family which runs out of money around the 20th of the month. And they have no money to pay their EMIs.
I don't know why we're laughing and saying this,
but but it's a fact that if they did not receive this money, or if they did not receive the share from the ICC tournaments, they'd be bankrupt. So it's important for India to play its role as a responsible senior member of the Asian Cricket Council.
I'm sorry, I can't resist saying this. So what you're saying basically is either we pay Vaibhav Suryavanshi for his next contract, IPL contract, or we help Mongolia and Uzbekistan become international cricketing centers.
Listen, Rishabh Pant is 28 crores.
So, that's right.
So you can put things in perspective about how things are. Also, the thing is, so we are not playing for money. Listen, we are committed to play the Asian Games next year, which is a non-ICC event, and cricket is one of the disciplines where we'll compete. Pakistan is also going to be there. In 2028, we are in the Olympics, where Pakistan could be there. It depends on whether they qualify.
Right.
In 2030, another 2 years down the line, we are trying and most likely to host the Commonwealth Games, where again cricket is important. And again we will run into Pakistan. So if you want to play, not play 26, 28, 30, and also going forward we have the 2036 games.
Which we might get to host as well, the big one.
We are trying very hard, and we are a serious contender to host it. So if we were to say boycott and not play, that would not be a positive thing going forward.
Right. Especially we're going to host two of these big tournaments.
Yeah.
So just to put it in perspective here, so what you're saying is that we get to, the bilateral series is obviously not on the table right now because of the situation in both countries. But anything which is a neutral venue, ICC or IOA or Commonwealth Games, etc., then we have to understand that this will happen. The two countries.
And I think there's also clarity from the government. A few days back, the minister and the ministry clearly announced our policy regarding playing Pakistan. So bilateral is off. International events with multi-country participating,
we will play.
We'll play.
Okay, fair. So
we also reached an agreement with Pakistan that we'll not play in each other's country.
Not in the near future, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just get that right. Now let's move back and trace the historical sort of growth of the Asia Cup back to the early 80s, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think, it has genesis around 83. We had just won the World Cup, and we realized that we need to have more countries aligned with us in case we need to play a bigger role internationally, whether for the World Cup or anything. So this group was formed around that time just to keep your flock together and maybe influence votes.
It's the first sign of taking it away from the Western powers in a sense, no?
Actually at that time this thing of confronting the dominance of Australia, England was starting in the ICC and the international cricket ecosystem. And we won the 83 World Cup through a system of voting and things. Then early 90s, we were again bidding for the 96 World Cup. So in those days, the World Cups and major events were allotted to host countries through a vote. You needed certain votes from the test playing countries and the associate members. So ultimately, it's a matter of numbers. So if you want the numbers, you need to keep Pakistan, Sri Lanka with you because they are test playing nations. Bangladesh was not yet. So the whole idea was that you keep your people together and they'll help
form
you.
the nexus.
Yeah, and it forms a group. So when you're in a situation where things depend on a vote, you have the numbers with you.
So now, of course, we're looking over 40 years, but it was quite visionary of whoever was in charge. I think in another episode we'll discuss that in detail, to think about this and take away the power from the monopoly of, say, England and Australia, which for so many years ruled cricket, and then slowly sort of pull the carpet from under their feet. And now today, India is the big superpower on the shoulders of the Asian brethren, so to speak.
Yeah, because we'll talk about it later when it came to a vote, you needed the numbers. And very cleverly, India not only got support from its neighbors and others who are aligned with it, they worked very hard on the associate members because they're a large number. And many of them...
And they all count.
They all count, and many of them are either led or have somebody of Indian origin there. So that gives an advantage in terms of reaching out, getting them to be on your side. And that's how the later World Cups have played out. 96 especially, and after that.
All right, let's return to the Asia Cup now and just trace the actual tournament growth. So the first one was in the early, just after 83. Take us through the progression then, and then we'll try and look at some of the great moments of the Asia Cup.
The Asia Cup was always actually built around India and Pakistan because there's a marquee event. That's what creates interest in terms of television, viewership, in terms of sponsorships. So there have been many classic matches over the years and close games, and it's gone up and down all these years. But strangely, if you look at Asia Cup of 83 down to 2025, it's India and Sri Lanka who have won. Pakistan has sort of fallen off, and they haven't won since 2012, last 13 years. So there have been great performances, Gavaskar, others. It's been the key game, You remember the old days when Sharjah would be packed because of India and Pakistan playing, massive interest, and very passionate supporters from both sides. But now it's more often. It's every 2 years, the Asia Cup, and we can recall many great matches.
So in the 80s, the venue was basically, a lot of it was Sharjah, is it?
Many times.
And then slowly started moving out, and the host countries started changing and becoming the actual host countries.
It kept rotating after a while.
Right.
But also, it's always been a bit turbulent in terms of the relationship between India, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. And there have been various boycotts. India is boycotted because of Sri Lanka once. Pakistan is boycotted because of India. India is boycotted because of Pakistan. So from time to time, you have this turbulence.
Dropouts.
You have this things.
So these boycotts obviously from time to time cause trouble and issues in the Asia Cup management. What is the story in the 80s? I think mid-80s there was a Sri Lanka tournament.
I think there was a great comedy. It's like a farce that the tournament was being played in Sri Lanka. India boycotted. So you had Pakistan, Sri Lanka playing, and no India. So
it was also last minute, so that also upset them because there was no time to.
Boycotts are always last minute.
Yeah,
so you have no time to adjust to the mess.
Yeah.
So you had an Asia Cup where one team is missing, and but it's going on, and to make up for this loss of cricket, Sri Lanka organized a tri-nation tournament with Pakistan, Sri Lanka themselves, and they invited New Zealand. Now both tournaments are going on simultaneously, so you had a situation where you have a Asia Cup match on one day, then the final of the other tournament the next day.
What
then
are you
go
saying?
back to the Asia Cup. So that's how messy it can be.
So they play the Asia Cup final in between playing some negligible
some
match with New Zealand.
random tournament organized last minute because you need that amount of cricket and you have to make up for the loss of one
Broadcaster
team.
rights almost
And you have to make up for one team just not turning up.
Wow.
So those are days of when you don't have a working relationship among members, so you can reach a situation of this kind.
But things got better towards the 90s, and the Asia group sort of came closer. India, Pakistan were better placed politically, etc.
Yeah, I think much better because in the 90s, India, Pakistan, and others started to cooperate, especially when it came to the 96 World Cup. So that was a combined thing of India, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. And that process started in 92-93. You allotted the World Cup in 93. You held it in 96. And by the time because of working together, you had a very good relationship between the three countries. And you strengthened ACC. And there was a proposal not only proposal, but an actual decision to have a full-scale ACC office, not in India, not in Pakistan, but in a neutral country, and appoint a CEO. And strangely, that job was offered to me as the CEO. Because I was part of Pilcom.
And you didn't take it?
I was very young at that time and I had a young family and I didn't want to uproot myself and go to KL because the decision was to have the office in KL.
Because they wanted a neutral place. So that was an obvious choice.
It didn't work for me for that reason.
IDFC first fact, in the Asia Cup of 2004, Mohammad Sami of Pakistan bowled the longest over ever in international cricket. Sami, playing against Bangladesh, bowled a maiden over first, but his next over lasted 17 deliveries and included 7 wides and 4 no balls. Remember, this is the pre-free hit era, else he would have probably ended up giving more than 22 runs that he did in that huge over. If you look back at the early years, I would say in the 80s, mid to late 80s, the rise of Sri Lanka as a cricket power could also be traced to the Asia Cup.
Also because, I think Sri Lanka's greatest moment was they surprised everybody by winning the World Cup in 96.
Correct.
And at that time, they played a different brand of cricket. In one day is what people are now doing, that you have the Kaluvitra and Jayasuriya. You, as openers, you come out and attack. Earlier,
baseball, perhaps.
Earlier, the philosophy was the openers would come, consolidate, good start, build a base.
And last 10 overs, if I remember correctly.
Suddenly they said no base. We are coming in, starting to attack straight away. So they changed the grammar of one-day cricket, and they won the World Cup. So Sri Lanka's rise has been since then. Similarly, in the last 10 years, we've seen the rise of Afghanistan. Afghanistan is a very late entrant to cricket, 20 years or so. They've been playing test cricket only for 7-8 years, but they're a major force in T20 cricket. You got Rashid Khan, who's after a bit of dip in form, is back to good days in the 100 recently. Noor and CPL is taking wickets. Gurbaz is always a threat. You got Mujib, and you got a very strong Afghanistan side also.
And they've actually grown more rapidly than any other country in that sense.
Absolutely.
In just less than a decade, they suddenly became a power.
So it's, while the focus is India, Pakistan, you can't discount Afghanistan, you can't discount Sri Lanka or even Bangladesh. It's a 20-over game. So it can be a surprise for many.
Okay, what are your standout memories, favorite matches, if you can recall, India, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, but involving India.
Listen, India, Pakistan has always been the key game. But if you look at it now, if you compare India and Pakistan, I think it's a complete mismatch. India's too strong at the moment. We have such a excessive amount of talent that it's difficult to, pick 15 because another 15 may perhaps good enough. Pakistan is the other end. Struggling to find 15 good players. Now you have Fakhar Zaman, you've got Saim Ayub, you've got Haris Rauf, you've got Shaheen Afridi. Those are the senior players.
And no wicketkeeper at the moment.
Yeah, and then you're looking at a young Hassan Nawaz to make good, some Saibzada Farhan to do good. They're unknown. Who knows how good they are? But on paper, they don't look very strong. And look at it the other way. If there was Shreyas Iyer in Pakistan, he'd be 100% captain and the surety in the team.
So all those that have missed out of we'll talk about that a little later in the program, who missed out on the Asia Cup in our squad, you're saying we'll walk into the Pakistan team like Shreyas.
But listen, I can't think of a single Pakistani player making it to the Indian team. Not one.
Shaheen?
Unlikely. His past.
Saim Ayub?
No.
More on talent than.
Yeah, but
started really well though.
No, he's talented, but I think we have got people who are more talented and proven.
Yeah.
So I think complete mismatch. I can't see any Pakistani player making it even to the 15 in the Indian team. There's such a huge mismatch.
All right, let's go back then a little bit in time when they were a very powerful team under Imran and Javed, and Sunny and Kapil from our side as captains, etc. Standout moment in the 80s, Kapil got a hat trick.
Yes, but then Kapil and people like Gavaskar, Kapil, later on Ganguly and Dravid. Listen, they are star players. They've done well in every format, in Asia Cups, in 50-over games, test matches. But coming back to Pakistan, I think they're struggling against India, especially if you look at the last 10 years, or at least the last 3 matches. If you look at 22, 23, 24, 25, it's been very one-sided.
Yeah, I think there's only one big win in 2017 Champions Trophy against us in the final. Yeah. I think in 2021 in one of the smaller tournaments as well.
I think I remember a game in England where Fakhar Zaman made 100 and we lost. That was the
that
Oval.
was the final. That was the Oval.
Yeah. That was a great win for Pakistan.
I paid money for that, and that was the one time we lost.
Paid money in what way?
I started with my 2 kids and watched the whole match, and then India was like 22 for 3 or something, and we were just trying to get out once Virat and Rohit and all had gone. I mean, it was just a... Anyway.
Last 3 matches have been pretty disastrous for Pakistan. In 23, I think 50-over game. That was the Asia Cup, was it? Yeah. We made 350. They made 120.
Yeah.
So they lost
contest.
They lost by 230 runs or something. I think Virat made a big 100. KL made 100.
Right.
So completely one-sided. Pakistan swept away. Next year in America, in the World Cup, Pakistan had to defend. India defended 119.
Yeah.
Pakistan was 70 for 2.
They should have won in a cakewalk.
It should have been.
The wickets were a little here and there.
But still, it should have been an easy win considering you're only, chasing 120.
In the 80s, they had the thing over us in terms of Sharjah and all that.
Yeah.
And even the early Asia Cup matches, they seemed to be, especially in white ball, we really had a problem.
Yeah, because at that time, Pakistan had more quality. If you look at the players, whether it's Imran or Javed Miadar or Inzamam or so many others, Sarfraz, Wasim Akram, they were terrific players. And so was India. There was a competitive, tight, good quality cricket. Unfortunately, last 5 years or so, it's become a bit one-sided. That quality is missing in Pakistan. And Pakistan, actually, one reason could be that as a cricket body, it's very, very uncertain. You have people getting repeatedly sacked, people resigning, the captain, the coach, the selectors. It's a bit like a flight where you have to have the seatbelt on all the time. I think in India we're lucky. We got a fantastic system from age group of 13, 15, 17, 19, 23, Ranji Trophy for men, women.
And now that premier T20 tournament, whose name I can't mention.
You got red ball cricket, you got white ball cricket. And what the board does is provides a great platform for anybody who's talented to come and perform. They also support cricket. There's a huge amount of money, huge amount of investment in players, in facilities, in infrastructure, and the platform. So I think we've got it right.
Let's look at some of the performances, though. I want to just try and remind viewers about what happened in the Asia Cup. Top of my mind, I think Ajantha Mendis was discovered in a tournament.
He was like a mystery bowler suddenly, and nobody had an answer to what he was doing.
In fact, it's the only guy I can remember India really struggled with for about a couple of seasons before then he suddenly dried up. But
actually, everybody did.
Yeah.
So he came as something new, and you couldn't make out which way the ball was going.
Yeah.
And I think from then on, there has been this trend of a mystery bowler.
Right.
He was perhaps the first.
They always seem to produce them, no? With the Botayas and the.
Yeah, then it was difficult for people to make out what Muralidharan was doing.
Yeah.
Then in the IPL, we had Sunil Narayan, mystery bowler. For many years, people, even now, many are struggling to make out what he's doing.
Would you call Sakleen also a mystery bowler for a little while?
Not really a mystery, but he was the one who came with the Dusra. Yeah. So Sri Lanka has had this history of producing somebody, who's unknown and difficult to make out. And I remember, a few matches when, not in the Asia Cup context, but there was a time when Muralidharan was actually baffling everybody.
Yeah.
And I remember Sehwag having no problem. He just knew instinctively what was happening.
He could read him or just...
He could read him. I think he could read him, or he knew how to cope.
Yeah.
I also remember during the IPL, we had Sunil Narayan who came, and everybody was struggling. And there used to be special team meetings in practically every franchise.
You were Delhi Daredevils.
Yeah, I was part of Delhi Daredevils, but this was common to all the teams, because nobody knew what to do with them. And the data guy would come and give you a presentation, try and decipher some trend in the way he's bowling. The coach would come and give tips to how to handle him, and it wouldn't succeed. But Sehwag just knew what to do. So Sehwag was not troubled. Now, I don't know what his system is to make out, but he somehow sorted out Muralidharan, he sorted out Sunil Narayan. So I think some can do it, some can't.
Yeah, we've had lots of big tournaments which overshadowed the Asia Cup to some extent, with the mini World Cup, the Champions Trophy, not to mention obviously the big World Cup, etc., and some of the bigger red ball series as well. In a chase of 330, there was a partnership of 172 between two batsmen who were just about to make a name for themselves. And apparently Sunil Gavaskar saw this performance and said, in the Asia Cup, and said, this is the future of Indian batting, these two.
Yeah, I think you're referring to Rohit and Virat.
Yeah.
And actually, Sunny is the type not to miss out on talent. When he sees something, there can be no better judge of locating that spark which distinguishes or separates good from the ordinary. Plus, at the same time, I think the talent of Virat and Rohit was so, obvious that you didn't have to be a genius to spot, how good they were. I think it was in 2012 or something, Virat made 180 in one of the games.
183.
Yeah,
correct.
So he sort of announced, that was very early in his career.
Yeah.
Pretty early.
It's also the end of Sachin, if I'm not mistaken.
I think the same year. I think Sachin, finished playing the same season.
Gets 100 in his second last game, which is the 100th 100.
Against Bangladesh.
Against Bangladesh. And we lose the game.
Yes.
Which brings me to another important point. So do you think for them, I don't want to sound like, we are the big brother and all that, but do you think for Bangladesh, for Afghanistan, for Sri Lanka, obviously Pakistan, beating India was really the big deal?
Yeah, it is, because India is a stronger team, and if you can beat India on a particular day, I think it's a great high.
Yeah.
And because India starts favourites, especially now going into this World Asia Cup, we are the favourites.
Well, the last one we massacred everybody. If I remember correctly, Mohammad Siraj was unplayable in the final. You remember that spell?
Yeah, that was a strange Asia Cup, because India beat Pakistan with a huge margin of 220 runs.
Correct.
And then you play Sri Lanka in the final, and Sri Lanka is out for 50.
Ridiculous.
50, Siraj getting 6 wickets or something. And you have a 50-over game which sort of ends in 5 overs.
Yeah.
So that's a bit weird. So that's how cricket can go, It's not that Sri Lanka is a team which is worth only 50 runs, but cricket can spring these kind of shocks to teams.
But where did we go not wrong, but where did the decision come into being that 50 overs is not the right amount anymore, and that Asia Cup should now become 20 overs?
No, I think it's linked to the next World Cup. So if the next World Cup is the T20 World Cup coming up, then you play the Asia Cup on a 20-over format.
Is that it?
Yeah.
That's pretty logical.
Yeah, that's how it is. Yeah.
So depending on the diary, you're looking at the diary in the calendar and saying, okay.
You look at the ICC World Cup.
Okay.
And if the Asia Cup precedes a 50-over World Cup, then you play 50 overs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's a great fact.
So the next year, there is a T20 World Cup. That's why the Asia Cup is on 20 overs this year.
Right.
Yeah.
And in 2027,
It'll change.
It'll
So there's a
change.
logic to it, and I think a very sensible logic that you prepare for the next year's World Cup and you play the Asia Cup in the same format.
Okay, let's look at the squad now, because obviously we're recording this just before the start of the tournament. I'm going to ask you the open question. So, Gill, Jaiswal, you go with Gill
Gill, yeah.
in
At
this
the
format.
moment, yeah.
In this format.
Listen, it's not that Gill is not a good T20 player. He's made,
Fantastic.
he's
They're
made,
both-
he's
they're
made
both
big runs
fantastic.
for Gujarat Titans in the IPL, and he's
Yeah.
So it's a toss up, and I think the selectors have also got an eye on what's going to be the next captain. So I think
So
for that reason also he's named vice captain. He's the test captain.
Correct.
He's the vice captain there. I think the indication is pretty clear that he
All
will
format
take over.
captain.
He'll take over as a captain soon in T20 cricket.
Right.
And at the same time, he's made those huge runs in England. So you can't overlook those also. Though that's red ball cricket, I understand the difference. But he's made runs in the IPL. He's made runs in England. He's the captain of a successful team. So how do you leave him
But
out?
Jaiswal also made runs in England,
So-
not to the tune of
So there's
754.
there's no disrespect or sort of that Jaiswal has failed. It's just that you have a better option at the moment. Jaiswal is very good,
Okay.
but I think at the moment the indication is pretty clear that we want Shubman Gill to take over as the T20 captain. He's made runs. He's already a relatively successful Test captain. So that's the way we are going in the future.
Are you happy with the spinners that we have? No
I think we
going
got the
back.
best team. I think we're the best team possible here.
Chakrabarti, Akshar Patel.
Yeah, but listen, fine, we were the best team. But what I find a bit odd nowadays is selection is always a bit controversial. There will always be difference of opinion. People will say A, not B, and why not so and so, etc. What is slightly strange recently is the parents and relatives of cricketers
The
coming
fathers,
out in
yeah,
public,
I know what you're talking about. I know
coming
what
out
you're
in
talking
public and
Yeah.
openly criticizing selection.
Yeah.
Washington
Sanju Samson, it happened.
Washington
Sundar, it
Sundar's
happened.
father,
And now Shreyas.
Sanju Samson, and Shreyas Iyer.
Yeah.
I'm not sure it's a good thing.
It's also the times that we live in, right? Because this couldn't happen before. You only had newspapers. There was no way to really comment. Very difficult. You have to go and take a bite from someone. Now people can just go on the internet and give their replies. So that's also one of the reasons why family and friends and supporters.
I understand this. I understand this. From the media perspective, to get a reaction, it makes news. But is it right for the family to be commenting on something which is sort of professional and something very different? It's not a family issue. Yeah. It's a
But they're
national team
emotional.
selection.
It's their child or whatever. I can understand. I hope that's not held against the cricketer because he's got nothing to do with that. It's
Yeah,
just a
but I
family
would
member.
rather this not happen.
Yeah.
And it's not just actually family members. There have been players commenting about players also. Maybe it's again, as you said, a part of the growth of the social media and to be wanting to communicate, to give out more information. You have a platform. You are free to do it. But I think it would be better if the players refrain from commenting about their own colleagues, especially when you are an active player yourself. And I think for the family to stay quiet.
Anyway, coming back to the relevance of the Asia Cup now. So, do you think it'll have a big impact still, and that India-Pakistan will be watched like it used to when, say, we were young, much younger?
In a film, you have this, the music. You have the main track, and you have what is called the background track. Now, at the moment, the India-Pakistan totally cricket-wise is not something very major. It's a mismatch. We are a strong team. It's not really that competitive in terms of even quality of cricket. But the surround noise is immense. Off-field chatter, conversation is great because of all that is happening apart from cricket. The broadcasters and the promoters of the event want that excess interest. So it's going to be promoted and projected as some kind of a war. Because ultimately it's a quest of eyeballs and viewership. So it has huge interest. That's why Sony's paid good money. They pay 25 million a year for the rights, and it's a sellout in terms of tickets, etc. So commercially, it's a huge hit. Cricket-wise, we don't know.
Yeah.
But
the only worry is that India, England, India, Australia suddenly have become very important and interesting in terms of close conflicts, good contests. When we tour there, obviously when we tour here as well. When they tour here as well. So I'm just thinking, is it that suddenly that India-Pakistan has an overrated feeling to it? You would say no.
From a cricket angle, certainly. It's not as competitive or as compelling as what India played cricket in Australia or the quality of cricket we saw in England this year?
Right.
Certainly not. Certainly not.
Yeah. All right. It remains to be seen. The last question I would like to ask you is the obvious one. We win easily, or Bangladesh from left field, or Afghanistan?
You never know. And again, it's a cliche to say it's a 20-over game, anything can happen, and it can. But chances are we should win easy.
All right, I think that sums it up. We want India to win after all that. We recorded this before the Asia Cup. If you don't get the results that you want, don't blame us. Oh, it's a game of chance, end of the day. Can't say for sure.
Let's safe, ना?
Yeah.
कि if you कुछ भी बोलो या safe chance की बात है, कुछ भी हो जाए.
Draw तो नहीं हो पाएगा. Don't allow that anymore.
And may the better team win.
Diplomatic answer as far as I'm concerned, but sir, of course, is everything diplomatic. Before we actually wind up, going forward, the Asia Cup should stay.
Yeah, I think it's part of the international calendar and the understanding between the countries which are part of the Asian group.
Yeah,
and at the moment we might not have everybody's support, but these
but
things
we haven't
keep
really
happening.
produced anyone beyond the big five of Asia. I mean, you're talking about making jokes and all that, but I know that there's some sort of cricket going on in Mongolia, Uzbekistan, China, Japan, etc. But it doesn't look like any of them are going to rise now and actually be part of an Asia Cup.
And I think the next big country in terms of growing as a cricket nation would be Nepal.
Yeah.
They're already pretty good at the shorter format. And the greatest advantage Nepal has is, A, their entire team is of people who are local Nepalese, no expats, unlike many other countries which are heavily dependent on expats, whether it's even Oman and whether it's UAE, who are participating in the Asia Cup. So Nepal has local players. That's a great strength. The other great strength is that Nepal is cricket is the number one sport in Nepal. You have a normal cricket match is sold out. The kind of fan following Nepal has exceeds the fan following for cricket in Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Bangladesh.
Is that so?
Yes.
Nepal above Pakistan,
In
Bangladesh,
terms of
Sri
fan following, by far.
That's amazing.
Any international game Nepal plays, it's a sold out game. And let me give you one more stat. When the World Cup was held in America, India games were sold out. India played, I think, 2 or 3 games. We played Pakistan, we played some other game.
Right.
The only other game in US which was sold out was the Nepal game.
Is that so?
Yes.
Full house.
Full house. Apart from the India game, it's only the Nepal game which was sold out.
Wow.
So Nepal has local players and Nepal has huge fan following in Nepal. So I think if they can invest in infrastructure, better facilities and better coaching, I think they could be the next surprise after Afghanistan.
Or we could loan them Vaibhav Suryavanshi till he's 18.
No, but Nepal doesn't want,
Well,
expats.
I know what you're saying. So that's great. There's great pride in the
Yeah,
local population
yeah.
to come up triumphs. And so you're actually
and cricketers are national heroes there.
Yeah.
Like India. It's that kind of a following for the top players.
Wow. All right, thank you for staying till the end of this episode. As a token of appreciation from my side, IDFC FIRST Bank wants to help you stay safe online by telling you about some scams and frauds floating around the internet, like phishing. In this, scammers send out emails impersonating a real person or an organization, asking you to download attachments or get you to share your personal information. If you ever receive an email which feels fishy, then you're probably being phished. So always double check with the person or the organization before you download or share anything.